Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us as people slowly get accepted into the Zoom room. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our first kickoff OCI webinar. We got some people still joining. I'm going to give them a minute to get situated. If you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, you can drop them in the Q&A section on the bottom of your screen, and Basheer and I will watch the questions come through and we can share those with Mark after the presentation. If there's anything urgent, just let us know. If it's relevant to the slide he's on, but he can always go back and address that later on. So to kick us off, I'd like to introduce Basheer. Basheer Khan, founder and CEO of Connect Technology, is an industry-leading expert in Oracle Cloud applications and technology. Basheer has over 36 years of experience in information technology and enterprise architecture. He is recognized by Oracle as an ACE director for both Fusion middleware as well as Oracle applications. Oracle Magazine has honored him as Oracle's Integration Architect of the Year. Please help me welcome Basheer.
Amanda, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to kick off this series. We are very excited to bring Oracle Cloud Infrastructure to the mix. As Amanda said, I've been working with Oracle as a partner since '88, and it's been an amazing ride. So why this series? OCI has become such an integral part of so many things Oracle is doing, including the Fusion applications. But more importantly, we are seeing more and more AI get into cloud infrastructure component cloud services, as well as the applications. So I'm very thrilled to introduce Mark Carroll. He's a senior manager at Oracle Cloud Engineering team. He currently leads a team of cloud engineers focused on assisting customers co-develop with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure through the Code Innovate program. So if you have not heard about it, he's going to talk about that too. The program is at no charge to Oracle clients and covers a range of topics, including robotic process automation within the Oracle Integration Cloud stack. So this would be a series. So if you like what you see, do come back. We have at least 3 more webcasts lined up with different speakers. So with that, very appreciative. Mark actually moved his schedule to make this event happen. So thank you, Mark, and please take it away.
Yes, absolutely, Basheer. Thank you so much. And to everybody, I apologize in advance. These are brand new slides, fresh off the press. So a few of these topics, if I don't seem as polished as normal, let me know. Don't worry, we will still help you on the back end. As Basheer mentioned, my name is Mark Carroll. I'm a senior manager here at Oracle. And I really think that I have the best job at Oracle personally, because I have a team of 18 cloud engineers that work within my organization that are specifically focused on helping you as customers increase your outcome and usage of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And the way that we do that is by offering up 20 hours of code development with you on any topic within the OCI portfolio. It's called Code Innovate, and we will actually be over the shoulder in your tenancy, helping provide guidance and expertise on all of the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure products that can assist you in the solutions that you are trying to build in-house. So at the end, we'll give you an option to reach out to me directly if you would like more information on that. But for today's topic, let's talk a little bit about robotic process automation and what we've added into Oracle Integration Cloud that can help assist you in building your stack a little more appropriately. So for some of you, you may already know about Oracle Integration Cloud and some of the features and functions that are available for it. But if I were to give those of you that aren't familiar with OIC a little bit of background, we have over 2,000 patterns that are already pre-built within the Oracle Integration Cloud that allow you to pull application data from various different sources and bring that into various different sources, whether that be into 23AI, whether that be into a data lake, whether that be into existing Oracle application like EBS or PeopleSoft. But at the end of the day, the heart of the matter is we have a ton of pre-built connectivity to allow you to integrate apps, automate workflows, and basically help get and build conversational assistance, document processing, and low-code applications. So, excuse me while this slide builds out, right? So if we look at where we can pull the data from, there are various different options of where the data can be retrieved from, the applications that can be retrieved from. Obviously, as you would expect, we can pull the data out of Oracle SaaS. We also have the capability of building in an integration agent and pulling that out of on-premises apps like eBusiness Suite. We also can reach out and touch third-party applications using API stacks. And we also can span across all of the different multiple cloud opportunities. So if you've already built an application on Azure, if you've already built an application on AWS, we're able to use Oracle Integration Cloud to pull the information out of there and build the data lake or the autonomous data processing or whatever you need from our side. In addition to that, we can also build into that integration things like Oracle Digital Assistant that will allow chatbot functionality to work with your existing applications or extend the chatbot capability of certain platforms, like campus solutions if you're working with a higher education stack from PeopleSoft. And then finally, the big thing or the big value of Oracle Integration Cloud is really the data consistency across the entire enterprise, right? So if you have a process that is repeatable, you're able to pull data from other disparate applications that may not be part of your overall solution, but can still build in that common framework and that common visualization so that you can output various different sources using Oracle Apex, using VBCS, using various Oracle products to have an intuitive interface for your customers, for your constituents inside your organizations, right? So expanding a little bit more on where these adapters, where this data has flown, you start to get a broad picture of every place that we can retrieve data from and then make intelligent decisions. So if we look at customers, you may have data residing in a ServiceNow instance. You may have data residing in a Workday instance. You may have, different data flows that might be in an older version of eBusiness Suite or JD Edwards. So really what we want to do is we want to continue an entire data platform across every potential place where you could have data within your organization so that we can truly build a single source of truth and either apply analytics, apply AI, apply document understanding, apply machine learning into where that data is and resides, right? I won't belabor all of the 2,000 workflows, but we certainly would be able to talk with you individually for any of your use cases on how to get that data to and fro. The important part to bear in mind, though, is the reason Oracle Integration Cloud Suite is so important to you as a customer is we're not a one-trick pony, right? We really have the capability of using the right tool for the right process, as shown here by these gardening implements. Sometimes you need a trowel. Sometimes you need, a rake. Sometimes you just need to get your hands dirty and get in there and deep. And that's where we'll talk a little bit about RPA and what that means. So obviously, with most integration platforms, you can certainly reach out to an application API and you can pull that data in via API. That's the most common, that's kind of the industry standard these days. But what if you still have a private instance that is not accessible by the World Wide Web, so to speak? Then we'd actually be able to also bring in an integration agent and work directly with your on-premises applications to pull that data back in through Oracle integration for those workflows and that access to that data. What if your application was not already built with an API, right? That's where we'll be talking about how robotic process automation can really help accelerate that capability and integrate that as a common solution. So, if we're taking a look at easier, slightly easy, and then RPA typically is where you have an application that is harder to reach. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So as we look at robotic process automation, right, what is that, right? Obviously, if you have an API, application programming interface that you're there, about 90% of all applications out there have an API that you can connect to. But when those API connections are not available, how are we actually able to automate the human steps and able to get the data out of the application that you need and into the location you need it? Well, RPA is basically a robot that is a software script, right? So we would put an agent in that particular application. We would make sure that that robot specifies the steps to follow to accomplish the task that you're looking for out of that application user interface. So that might be a screen grab, that might be a field capture, that might be various different things that will allow you to pull data out of Java, out of C++, out of Python, right? So I might need to get product details or create an order or something along those lines. So what we're essentially doing is we're removing the ability to just automatically go into an API and pull that out, and we'll actually mimic a user, right? So the robot will pretend, that it is the user during that interface. So the same way that you would screen capture or something along those lines, we'll be able to record that process and repeat that process as needed. So this will become part of the stack of the workflow that says, in this particular instance, we don't have access to an API. So rather than using an API, we'll grab a screen capture here so that we're able to get that step completed and move on in the workflow. And by the way, if this is too basic, for sure, feel free to reach out and we are happy to go as in depth as you need, right? So as we look at this, right, the process that's involved would be adding the extension or the app recorder into your web browser to make sure that you're able to use RPA in the same way. And simply once that agent is installed, we're going to begin recording, right? So we'll add to that environment. We'll create an environment pool using Oracle Integration Cloud. We'll download and run the robot agent to make sure that it's out there and able to pull this information back in from your environment. Oops, I'm pressing the buttons too fast. And unfortunately, I do not have the demo here at this time, so I'll skip past the demo. Again, we will make that absolutely available to you at a different time. Sorry here, again, new slide, so I've got to build this out. So again, just visualizing what will happen with RPA rather than an API interaction. In this particular instance, we would go into that robotic tool. It would reach out to an agent in your environment on the application that does not have access via APIs. And we would run the capture of that or the recording of that. And then we would build that back into an API. So speaking very specifically about SaaS applications, really the opportunity here for most people is that as you're moving in between different environments, say from a development environment into a QA environment and from a QA environment into a production environment, really what you need to do is you need to capture the process of the upgrade so that you can repeat the process of that upgrade as you go through those steps. And you want to make sure that the build each time is exactly identical. And so what we found is with Oracle SaaS applications in particular, RPA gives you an opportunity to basically build that robotic process automation to help you create a QA environment directly from the same steps that you would create your dev environment. And what that'll allow you to do is then test against that process to make sure QA has exactly the same functionality as how you built it in the dev environment. And then when you get that process completed, you'll also be able to then run the same exact process to move that into a production state. So I'm going to take a pause here. Basheer, are we open for questions? What's the process here?
They submit to the Q&A box at the bottom. Right now, nothing's come in, so you can continue, but people could easily drop stuff at any time.
Okay, absolutely. So, as we look at it, I will provide these links in a follow-up email to everybody as well. We do have a live lab on exactly how to build the RPA process into the scenario. We also, from our team, have built this with several customers previously. So again, we can open that up to people who are interested in that. And then I also have a bunch of documentation that's available on the back end, as well as a YouTube video on exactly how the process works on the demo. Again, I apologize. I'm actually not one of the cloud engineers, so I don't have access to the demo itself, but we're certainly able to do that. So again, I'll pause here if there are any live questions or if anybody wants to submit to the QA. Glad to start there.
So Mark, I was going to say, if we do have time, I can potentially attempt to show the demo for the team that's on here, an RPA demo, and see if they have any questions based on what they see. Just give me a few to set it up.
Yeah, no problem. What a great segue. And while you do that, I will bring up the deck on Code Innovate and just talk a little bit about what our team is capable of doing there as well. So while Basheer is pulling that up, let me also go here and share a little bit about Code Innovate. So what we have here at Oracle that's available to every one of you as an Oracle user is what we call a virtual Code Innovate. And my team will be able to work with you and potentially solve a co-development use case that you have. So as an example, today's talk was about moving applications through the process using RPA, moving SaaS applications throughout environments using RPA. My team would be glad to work with you on how to do that in your environment specifically using these tools. Very, very easy process to go through. We'll actually co-develop with you in your tenancy and be able to help you get through those steps to be able to prototype, that RPA environment or anything within OIC as needed. This service is 100% free to Oracle customers. So there's no cost involved in this particular program. There are a couple caveats, and the first and most important is that it does require a time commitment from your team. So we do require that there are at least 4 people from your organization that would attend the co-development event and make a time commitment of 20 hours across 5 days. So we do 4 straight hours of development each day for 5 continuous days to make sure that we build this out in a first pass prototype, in a sprint type fashion. The other important part is that you bring the use case to us. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that it's useful and applicable to your environment. And in that place, we will add, and have access to the appropriate engineers to solve the problem for your use case. We do require about a 3-week lead time for this. The reason why is as you bring your use case to us, number one, we want to make sure we can schedule the right expert to co-develop with you. And number two, if there are things that are unique to that use case, we want to make sure our cloud engineers have enough time to do the background research so that we don't just show up and guess, so that we're actually prepared to, properly to help you in that environment. Also, in that time frame leading up to that co-development time, we will also make sure that your tenancy is set up properly, the configuration, the permissions are set up so that your 4 developers are able to develop continuously for that time period. Again, this is no cost to you as a customer, but we do ask that you just simply send us an email and let us know how to get started. So again, I'll link to this email address so that you don't have to copy it down. Or if you're already using RPA, you probably have already screen captured this and are able to do that yourself. Small little joke there. But all we ask in that email is that you simply give me 2 sentences on exactly what you're looking for in that, and we'll schedule a session to talk to you about it. Basheer, did I give you enough time?
You did. And this is an ad hoc demo. I was not planning to demo to begin with, but let me try and show you something we built to help SaaS customers, or for that matter, anyone that is using browser-based applications if you want to conduct tests and see if nothing broke as you did an upgrade, or any situation or scenario that you want to test out, or it could even be used for training purposes where you want to do a click-through demo of any of your existing applications. RPA is very powerful. We are very happy that Oracle came out with it before they introduced robotic process automation in the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure family. We didn't have many choices other than to depend on third-party applications to do this. So without further ado, let me share my screen. I presume you're able to see it. All right. And feel free to add any questions so we can address them. This is our Oracle Integration Cloud. Actually, let me go back out and show you from the beginning. This is the Cloud Console. If I go to the home page, you have various monitors and charts, and these are the pre-built flows that Mark alluded to. So I'm going to jump into one of the projects, which is the testing suite. And here, it's an elaborate suite. This is our test or demo environment. It doesn't contain all the processes we built, but just to give an idea of how complex you can build this and try different scenarios, see how everything is linked and lined together. Specifically, I want to go to the robotic processes. We have several of them built for different modules of Oracle SaaS applications. And when you expand that, you'll see there are multiple processes here. The one I'm going to demo is this one, Create Vendor. But this is behind the scenes, under the covers. And this is what Mark and team will be able to help you and your teams build yourselves. But from a user experience standpoint, the way this works is, this is Fusion Applications, by the way, for those who may not have seen it. Every quarter, Oracle comes up with updates to the applications. So every user has a 2-week window between when the test environment is updated to when the production environment gets updated to the new release. Of my history with Fusion Applications, right from the inception, -2 release, all the way to now 24D, 25A, there's never been functionality that broke, because Oracle spends probably a year testing every update before it's released. So, but still, it's good practice for large businesses to, verify and make sure their critical processes don't break just because an update missed something. Hasn't happened, but several organizations devote the 2 weeks to pull their team members from whatever they're doing to complete the test. And that disrupts their business continuity, because key people have to now focus on completing the test, reporting back to IT or who is managing the update process. What we have here is a self-service approach. And this is for demo, but this tile would be sitting within any of the modules. For example, procurement or payables will have a tile like this. They'll say test purchasing flows, just to give an example. Then when the team member clicks that, they had to select the parameters or the criteria for the test. So say they're going to do a new test. And by the way, even though this tile would show up in production, it'll always only be conducting the test within the non-production environments. In this case, they can choose between a dev environment or a test environment, and it'll pick the appropriate URL. And within that, in this case, they configured it only for a couple, but they'll see many more options depending on their role. As you know, Fusion Applications adopt a role-based access control. And same, depending on your role, you'll see the module that you are responsible for testing. And then once you select the module and continue, it asks for some of the criteria. For example, which business unit are you going to use? Is there sample data that you want to specify versus the defaults that the process would uptake, right? So you can provide all these criteria, changes depending on the module is selected, and all you do is submit. So that's the user experience. Once you submit, the next thing that happens after a few minutes would be an email coming back to the user saying, okay, all these scripts were tested, and how they know the proof of that test would be screenshots as the tests were conducted, successful screenshots, as well as, more importantly, bubbled up would be any errors encountered in the test. So from a user standpoint, it's not disruptive. They just do a few things here, click submit, and they can go about doing their work. waiting for the email to come back to them after all the testing is completed. So that's what this product does. With that said, let me go behind the scenes now. The product, as I showed you, there's numerous processes it'll call. Each one is a robotic process that does a specific function. As you can see, there are different scenarios here. This one, for example, tests whether the create vendor functionality in Fusion has did anything break or did it not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this process. By the way, this is automatically happening behind the scenes. For the sake of the demo, I'm just going to show you how an RPA agent behaves. So I'm going to say run, and there's a window behind here where you're going to see that request pop up. So let me pull that up. All right, so it's waiting for requests to come in. And what we'll do now is submit this particular request. So I'm going to change the demo date to today's date so you know it's the right agent. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the year, the month, and the day are perfect squares. So they're calling it a perfect square day. 2025 is 45 squared, just if you're curious. Let's see. Let's run that. And now the agent in the background that's running will receive a request. You'll see that here. And then a new window would pop up. I have two other monitors. In case the window pops up on the other monitors, I'll pull that in here so that you can see what it's doing. But soon you'd see a request come from here with the same instance ID in this agent. And there you go. See that instance ID pop up there? It's launching a robotic instance. So how does it work for you? You can have dedicated compute instances in the Oracle Cloud infrastructure that are running all these robotic processes. I'm running it on my laptop here, can be done, but typically you will see that window jumping up and down over here. That's a new browser. And this browser is replaying the recording we did to create a vendor. You saw it log in. I wish you could see my hands. I'm hands off, and it's doing all this by itself. The agent is kicking in. You'll see it select the menu on the right and select the option to create a vendor momentarily. There you go. Create supplier will be selected. There'll be an underscore. That means it selected that option. And now it'll open the pop-up where what I entered as a demo data, you see the date? It popped up the date. It's defaulting certain values that are required and it's creating the supplier all automatically. So this is using the tools that you saw Mark present, where you are recording it as you go. So you need to start the recorder. You're doing this one time, and then it stores all that information, and then it's able to complete the task on your behalf. See, save the changes. With that, that session ended. So that was my quick demo. I hope you liked it. And if you have any questions, happy to address them. But it's very powerful. You can have these small tasks for testing. You could have tasks for accessing data that with systems that don't have an API. You could use it to automate various activities in any browser-based application, all by simply doing the task while the recording is on, and then replaying that recording on a subsequent date. Let me stop sharing and see if any of you have any questions on what you heard from Mark or what you saw in my demo.
And if you want to pop in the Q&A and say you want to speak your question because it's easier, I could definitely unmute you. So just let me know. Nothing has come in yet. You guys are great teachers.
That just means Basheer is an excellent presenter, right?
Both of you are.
So for those who may be wondering, I know the communication went out with Steve as being the presenter. So we had a little bit of a challenge there, and that's why I'm very appreciative of Mark stepping in. Steve ended up with a conflict with the client, and we were trying to find who can potentially complete this webcast without it being postponed or canceled. So Mark stepped in, and this is the first of a series. We have, I believe, published dates of the webcast to come. We intend to have at least 3 more on different topics leading up to KScope, which is in June. I look forward to seeing you and your friends, colleagues at that event, look me up. We are planning to have more content around OCI brought to you. There's a question from Neeraj. In case there's some data-related exception while entering the data by the robot, how does that get handled subsequently? Mark, you want to take that, and I can add to your comment? How do you handle exceptions when a robotic process is running and there's an exception?
Honestly, I have to default here, right? So
Okay, no worries. I can adjust that. So there are aspects built into the robotic process. It's similar to Oracle Integration Cloud. So if you used Oracle Integration and built processes, and you had scope and you had exception handling, there's a similar, not exactly the same, but a similar concept when it comes to handling errors. Indeed, as you go, and that's something I didn't demonstrate today, but there's a very powerful capability that at every step of the test, you can capture screenshots. And all the screenshots can be pulled together into a PDF document that gets emailed back to the user, right? So to answer your question, there's a way to build exception handling, and then it can probably send you an email or notify you as to what happened, so you can go and course correct what went wrong. But best practice would be to do this a few times and indeed try. For example, in my case, had I sent the supplier name to be the exact same again, it'll fail because it's a vendor that's already created, and Oracle does not allow duplicate vendors. So that's one way of testing it. You deliberately inject incorrect data to test it out. But one good thing about this tool is that I have not seen it. You know how you had data loaders in the past, or even third-party tools where there's a lag and it'll start, instead of populating in the first field, because there's a delay, it populates in the second field or something like that. I've not seen that happen because it's not going based on relative position of the attribute. It's actually finding the attribute name in the browser and populate a like-for-like value to the underlying attribute name. So that way, even if there's a lag or delay in the network or whatever the case may be, it'll not mess up your data as it's being created or fetched. So that's one advantage you'd have with this product. I hope I answered your question, Neeraj. All right, let's see. Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Well, it looks
Any other
like,
questions? Go
yeah, it
ahead,
looks
Amanda.
like we're good on questions. Please feel free to email me, and I can pass the other questions along and we can get you an answer if you have anything else you'd like to know. Thank you so much, Mark and Basheer, for taking the time to present today. We appreciate your expert knowledge and look forward to future OCI conversations. So like Basheer said, make sure you register for Kscope. It's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We'd love to see you there. It's coming up just in a few short months. And then the next webinars will be April 23rd, May 7th, and May 21st. So stay tuned to the ODTech website and emails for more information about those and registration links. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Basheer and Mark.
Thank you. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Bye, everybody.